Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. We have official reception on the occasion of the National Day of the State of Qatar. For the international scene, justice validates deportations of migrants in Rwanda. Welcome to our newsroom. The Djibouti Palace Campus Key hosted last night an official reception on the occasion of the national holiday of the State of Qatar. The guests were received by the Ambassador of the State of Qatar in Djibouti, Dr. Rashid bin Shafi Al Fahida Al Mar'i, surrounded by his closest collaborators. Attending this reception were the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, the President of the National Assembly, Muhammad Ali Humad, as well as many ministers, in addition to senior officials of the civil and military corps, but also ambassador of brotherly and friendly countries, including the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, the Ambassador of the Republic of Yemen in Djibouti, Mr. Abdullah bin Musallam al-Qatri. On this occasion, the participant congratulated the Qatari ambassador for the celebrations of his country's National Day and for the great success achieved by Qatar regarding the organizations of the FIFA 2022 World Cup. They also praised the great progress made by the sister state in various fields and its leading presence in regional and international forums. For his part, Ambassador Rashid bin Shafi Al Fahida Al Mar'i welcomed the ministers, senior officials, and guest diplomats attending the reception ceremony, expressing his appreciation for their participation in the celebration of and the joy of the Qatari on this national occasion. After the successive interpretations of the national anthem of the two countries, Djibouti and Qatar, the officials proceeded to the symbolic gestures of cutting the birthday cake, thus kicking off the festive ceremony. In his speech, Dr. Rashid bin Shafi Al Mar'i, ambassador of the State of Qatar to Djibouti, strongly praised the mutual diplomatic support between the two countries and in international forums and organizations, and the willingness of the wise leaders of the State of Qatar and the Republic of Djibouti to strengthen and develop bilateral cooperation in various fields. The celebration of the National Day is also of the special importance this year as it coincides with the organizations of the FIFA World Cup 2022 by the State of Qatar, and both events are an opportunity to showcase the unity and culture of the people of Qatar to the world, and visitors to Qatar discover during this period the brilliant aspect of our history and culture and the extent of our belief in civilizational interactions with the rest of the world and our pride in our Arab and Islamic values. For his part, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, delivered a speech in which he congratulated the leader, government, and people of Qatar on the celebrations of the National Day. He affirmed that the progress achieved by the brotherly state of Qatar did not come out of vacuums, but thanks to the enlightening policy pursued by the state, stressing at the same time the strong relations between the Republic of Djibouti and Qatar. The head of Djibouti diplomacy noted that bilateral relations between the two countries are based on solid foundations to achieve common goals. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation also took the opportunity to commend the efforts made by the Qatar in organizing the 2022 Football World Cup, stressing that it has proven to the international community its ability and efficiency in organizing this type of international sporting events. The Minister of City, Urbanism and Housing, Amina Abdi Aden, at the head of a strong delegation, took part in the work of the 39 sessions of the Council of Ministers in charge of urbanism and housing of Arab countries held from 18 to 20 December 2022 in Cairo, Egypt. The Djibouti delegation also participated in the work of the 7th Arab Habitat Conference under the theme Towards Smart and Sustainable Cities for a Better Quality of Life. On the sidelines of this proceeding, the Minister of City, Urbanism, Planning and Housing met with her Egyptian counterpart, the Minister of Housing, Public Services and Urban Communities, Dr. Asim Al-Ghazar. The two ministers exchanged on issues of common interest and agreed to strengthen the relations between their two departments. Panel discussions on the experience of the different Arab countries as well as the visit to the different building sites of the new administrative capital of Egypt were on the program. The Union of the Francophone Press of Djibouti, with the collaborations of UNICEF, launched today at the Institute of Diplomatic Studies of Djibouti the work of two-day workshop on capacity building of Djiboutian journalists in dealing with the issue related to children's rights. The launching ceremony of this workshop was attended by the acting representative of UNICEF, Franck Abay, and the president of the UPF Djibouti, Mr. Kennedy Ibrahim Hussein, with the participation of about 20 journalists from the print, broadcast, and online media. During the 2 days of the workshop, participants will have to address issues related to the promotions of children's rights, including the right to protections and the right to nutrition, and to address the importance of ethics and professional conduct, especially in dealing with the issue related to children. For his part, the acting representative of UNICEF, Mr. Franck Abay, recalled that today we are talking about more than 110 million children around the world who need humanitarian assistance through 155 countries and territories. In a speech delivered on this occasion, the president of the UPF Djibouti, Mr. Kennedy Ibrahim Hussein, first recalled that the good collaboration that exists between his organization and UNICEF in the promotions of children's rights, and which are characterized by the joint organizations of several events involving women and men of the media on this crucial issue that is the right of the child. The director of the Sectoral Center for Vocational Training in Transport and Logistics, Mohamed Addosh Kherdon, chaired the launching meeting of the Login Track software training in the presence of the Inspector of Tertiary Hotel and Tourism Trades, Mr. Ahmed Ibrahim Bouh, and the Aftral expert, Mr. Rostand William, appointed to ensure the training of the CSFOP, being aware of the evolutions of the logistics and transport sector in which our learners are engaged, which is more competitive, more connected, and more technology-driven. That is why the Minister of National Education Vocational Training, His Excellency Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, attaches particular importance to the training of trainers of the ETFP, which is therefore a strategic priority in his roadmap. As a reminder, the Minister of National Education Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, and the United Nations World Food Programme signed a Memorandum of Understanding on January 18, 2021, which formalizes a framework of cooperation for the establishment of vocational training in the logistics and transport sector in Djibouti. The director of the Center for Vocational Training in Transport and Logistics, Mohammed Addosh, said for his part, we are gathered this morning for the launching of the training login track software specialized in the field of logistics and transport. This training is financed by the World Food Program. There is a convention which was signed between the MENFOP and the World Food Program 2 years ago, just after the opening of this center. Following that, a lot of actions have been carried out, and this training is part of this convention. The director of the social affairs, Mohammed Awali Miguel, proceeded yesterday in the city of Obok in collaboration with the ambassador of Japan in Djibouti, Otsuka Umio, as well as the resident representative of the World Food Program, Marie Njoro, and to the official launch of cash transfer project to the population affected by the rise in food prices and drought in a social context marked by multiple exogenous crises, including soaring food prices, incessant drought, and the weakening of the population's purchasing power. This emergency project comes on the heel of the call for national solidarity launched by the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, aimed at mitigating the effects of the multiple shocks that have negatively impacted the country's population. The Minister of Social Affairs Solidarity, the institution in charge of coordinating social assistance to poor households, is collaborating with the World Food Program for the implementation of this project, financed with the $500,000 by the partners of choice, the government of Japan. Thanks to these donations from Japan, 1,200 vulnerable urban households from 5 regions will be able to benefit from food aid for a period of 6 consecutive months. For his part, the resident representative of the World Food Program, Marie Njoro, said the project will enable the impacted households to cope with the soaring food prices and thus cover their food insecurity gap with the objectives of meeting the nutritional needs of vulnerable populations. The Japanese ambassador, Mr. Otsuka Umio, took this opportunity to announce the commendable decisions of the government of Japan to finance a food and nutritional assistance project worth 830 million Djibouti francs to help 24,500 vulnerable Djiboutians. This collaboration between the Japanese government and the Djiboutian government marks the concretization and the symbol of a common will of mutual aid and solidarity. It underlines a joint determination of the two states to ensure food security to the most vulnerable. The Regional Council of Dakhil held yesterday its fourth ordinary sessions of the General Assembly. As usual, this meeting, which was held under the co-chairmanship of Mr. Mahad Hussein Ahmed, President of the Regional Council, and Mr. Adan Darar Musa, Prefect of the region, so the participation of all local elected officials of the deconcentrated services, as well as the main actors of the civil society of Dakhil, was on the agenda. Two salient points, including the adoptions of the 2023 provisional budget of the Regional Council, the validations of a priority project for the year 2023. Immediately after the interventions of officials, the session began with a brief presentation of activity carried out or coordinated by the Regional Council of Dakhil during the year 2022. After that, the items on the agenda were reviewed by the participants who, on both sides, were able to discuss their substantive and formal aspects. At the end of this meeting, it also emerged the creation of a road agency in Dakhil and the establishment of a day called Fest Unity, and dedicated to the national unity and social cohesion that will be organized and celebrated every year. At the end of this fourth ordinary session, the General Assembly validated and adopted unanimously the various points raised for the year 2023. The Regional Council of Tajora held the fifth extraordinary session of the General Assembly of the year 2022, which was attended by all elected officials of the region. Among several issues on the agenda was the review of the budget for the year 2023, The meeting was chaired by the President of the Regional Council, Mr. Omar Hussein Omar, who opened after having noted that the quorum thereafter, the elected officials debated the items on the agenda, notably the examination and adoption of the provisional budget for the year 2023, which amounts up to the sum of 243,700,000 Djibouti franc in revenue and expenditure. The councillors then discussed several points of general interest and made proposals to the board. The Abdurrahman Hassan family is actively looking for their son Khalil Abdurrahman Hassan, born in Hargeisa of Somalian nationality, residing in the neighborhood 7. He was last seen on Saturday, December 17, 2022 at 12 p.m. leaving his home located in the neighborhood 7 sectors of the 2nd district. He was wearing a black futa and a blue shirt. This man is a vulnerable person suffering from psychological disorder. In case of discovery, please contact the standards numbers of the Central Police Station, 21 35 27 61, or go to the headquarters of the Brigade of Minors. For the international scene, in the UK, the court found that it is lawful for the British government to make arrangements for asylum seekers to be sent to Rwanda and have their claims assessed in Rwanda rather than in the UK, according to a summary of the ruling issue by the High Court in London. The court found that the government's planned arrangement did not controverse the Geneva Refugee Convention. No deportations has yet taken place. A first flight planned for June was cancelled after a decision by the European Court of Human Rights, which called for a thorough review of the policy. Now that the court has made its decisions, the government of Rishi Sunak wants to press ahead. Europeans agreed to keep gas prices at 118 euro meter. After months of difficult negotiations, the European Union finally set a cap on the prices of gas at 180 euro. The current prices of the 115 euro, but at the height of the crisis this summer it had reached 315 euro. This is a balanced compromise with an equivalent cost for the two main camps, explains Joseph Sikela, the Czech Minister of Industry, whose countries hold the 6-month presidency of the EU. Despite the political efforts, the agreement is not unanimous. Hungary voted against, and the Netherlands, Austria obtained, according to diplomatic sources. Germany, opposed to these mechanisms from the outset, finally validated the tool. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.